an apple that takes 8 years to grow, and a solid black watermelon that sells for thousands of dollars. You won't find these in any supermarket. Today, we are unlocking the hidden world of extreme dark fruits. Texas Persimmon. Picture a persimmon, and you probably picture a firm, bright orange fruit built for winter. Now forget that image completely. This wild variant, native to the American Southwest, turns almost black as it ripens, with a texture that borders on melting. The harsh local wildlife depends entirely on these small, plum-like spheres to survive the most unforgiving heat of late summer. Crack one open, and the pulp inside is deeply sweet and sticky, tasting far closer to vanilla pudding than anything resembling citrus. Locals don't just eat it. They use its intense natural pigments to permanently dye animal hides and clothing, echoing techniques that go back generations. The skin is so delicate that commercial machinery would destroy the crop instantly, which means every single piece still gets picked entirely by hand. Have you ever eaten something that tasted like dessert but looked completely unappetizing? Tell me about it in the comments. And if a fruit that looks like a chocolate truffle already caught you off guard, the next one doesn't even bother pretending to grow like normal fruit at all. Jabuticaba. Deep in the humid regions of South America, something is growing in entirely the wrong place. Heavy, dark grapes superglued directly to a thick, woody tree trunk. That strange growth pattern isn't random. It protects the fruit from the tropical rains and high winds that would otherwise snap it off thinner branches. Break through the tough outer skin, and you'll find a translucent white interior that tastes like a cross between sweet lychee and tart grape. The catch is a brutally short lifespan. The sugars inside start fermenting into alcohol just hours after the fruit leaves the bark. That forces local farmers into a race against time, boiling entire harvests into jams, jellies, and wine within a 3-day window. Because it simply can't survive a long shipping route, Jabuticaba never makes it to export markets. This flavor stays locked inside regional borders, permanently. Have you ever tasted something so local it never once showed up in a regular grocery store? Drop the name in the comments. Fermenting in hours is strange enough, but the next fruit on this list pulls off an actual chemistry trick right in your kitchen. Black Goji Berry. You already know the standard red goji berry from health food stores. What almost nobody knows is that its cousin, grown in the mountains of Central Asia, hides a completely different secret. Drop a handful of the dried black variety into a glass of water, and the liquid instantly turns bright blue or deep purple, depending entirely on how acidic your water is. It's a genuine science experiment happening inside your own teacup. That pigment isn't decorative. The plant produces it in self-defense, as a shield against the extreme solar radiation at high altitude. Harvesting it requires delicate tweezers because the skins burst under the slightest pressure, staining hands and clothing on contact. If you try this one at home, tell me what color you get. If a berry can pull off a color-changing trick like that, imagine what happens when an entire watermelon decides to abandon its stripes completely. Densuke Watermelon. A single watermelon has sold for thousands of dollars at auction, and this is the variety responsible. Grown exclusively on the northern island of Hokkaido, Japan, it completely lacks the familiar green stripes, replaced instead by a solid, heavily polished, almost black rind. Inside, the flesh is concentrated, intensely sweet, and noticeably crisper than anything you'd find at a regular grocery store. Farmers dedicate enormous amounts of space to individual vines. Some even hand massage the rind daily, just to guarantee even sun exposure across the entire surface. If you're enjoying how much geography shapes these fruits, take a second to subscribe to the channel. Because of the low yield and intense labor involved, these melons rarely end up sliced at a casual picnic. Instead, they're exchanged in elaborately decorated wooden boxes as premium corporate gifts, with the finest specimens fetching those record-breaking prices at specialty auctions. Not every rare fruit on this list survives by being juicy or sweet. The next one does the opposite, and that's exactly what makes it last for months. Black Velvet Tamarind. Run your thumb across its shell and it feels less like fruit and more like a scrap of manufactured fabric. This is Black Velvet Tamarind, found in the tropical forests of West Africa. Crack the unusually soft shell, and you won't find the heavy juice you'd expect from typical produce. Instead, a completely dry, bright orange powder wrapped around a small inner core. Locals eat the pulp exactly like hard candy, using it as a sharp, sweet, and sour energy boost to get through the afternoon. That total lack of moisture is actually the point. It lets the fruit stay preserved for months at room temperature. When dry seasons hit hard and fresh food becomes scarce, this natural preservation turns it into a genuinely life-saving nutritional resource for entire communities. Snack or survival food? Which do you think this one really is? Speaking of fruit with a strange relationship to moisture, the next one does something to your mouth that no candy ever could. Jamun. Eat a handful of jamun and your tongue turns a vibrant purple for hours. That reaction alone gets people's attention before the taste even registers. Native to the Indian subcontinent, this fruit offers a mild sweetness followed immediately by a sharp, astringent bite that dries out your entire mouth. Ancient communities figured out that this astringency actually balanced rich, heavy traditional meals, exactly why it earned a permanent place in regional diets for thousands of years. Its usefulness goes past the fruit itself. The hard inner seeds get dried and ground into fine powders, used extensively in historical herbal remedies. Somehow, jamun manages to be a casual, slightly bitter snack and a functional piece of holistic wellness at the same time. Purple tongue for hours. Worth it for the taste or a hard pass? Comment your verdict. We've saved the rarest, the slowest growing, and honestly the most expensive fruit on this entire list for last. Black Diamond Apple. This is the apple from the very beginning of this video, the one that takes 8 years just to produce its first piece of fruit. Grown exclusively in the remote mountains of Tibet, dramatic temperature swings between day and night force its skin into a deep, matte violet that absorbs almost all light. That unusually thick, dark skin evolved specifically to protect the crisp, sweet flesh inside from harsh, unpredictable mountain weather. While commercial orchards turn a profit within a couple of years, these particular trees produce nothing at all for nearly a decade. Would you actually pay a premium price to taste something this rare? Hit like if the answer is yes. To prepare them for high-end buyers, farmers hand-polish the natural wax on the skin until it shines, then wrap each piece individually in silk before shipping it out. The extreme environment doesn't just change how this fruit looks. It turns an ordinary botanical family member into a genuinely exclusive anomaly. That blue-dyed water, that bark-grown grape, and that 8-year apple are all real, all growing somewhere right now, completely invisible to anyone shopping in a regular supermarket. The food on our plates always carries a deeper geographical history than we give it credit for. So out of everything on this list, the melting persimmon, the color-changing berry, the record-breaking melon, the mountain apple, which one would you actually try first? Drop it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.